This will be just a real quick presentation, and what we have learned being in the industry of network marketing for, well, 25 plus years now, is that, and it's not just for network marketing, but business in general, is that the best businesses, the biggest businesses, are when a few simple actions can be done by people and duplicated. And this is easier to duplicate when they're simple. And this is done by a large number of people on a consistent basis. So you could even go to take the iPhone or the Samsung phone. They try to make it simple so they can use the phone and duplicatable by people all over the country, and then people will want to buy it. So when we're starting our businesses in network marketing, we do want to make it easier at the beginning. We don't want to have to go to college to be a network marketer. And what Trish has always liked to do, and she's the main force in our business, is she likes to work to earn while we're learning and have her people earn while they're learning. So that's the goal of this system, this presentation. And a big part of that is of being successful, especially when you're starting, is to know your tools. Because in order to have duplication, tools are critical. The duplication requires people not to have to learn about things and be able to say it themselves, but rather to use a video or a tool of some sort that's already made. So what's important for us is, as new associates, or for people we sponsor as new associates, is they need to learn what are the tools and where the tools are, how and when to use them. So to that effect, to the idea of simplicity and duplication, on our ateamsupport.com, password is capital A associate. We have a simple 1, 2, 3 for getting started. And this isn't just for you who are watching this, but you can use this with your people and your new enrollees and their new enrollees. That's the whole essence of duplication. Number one being how to use the products. And this is actually, we'll go into this a little bit, and that's actually really good for your customers also. So your customers can use this website to learn how to use the products and to increase credibility of the products. And then step 2 is sharing with others. When we have something we enjoy, we want to share it with others. And that's what the essence of network marketing. And then 3 is really an ongoing education, plugging into the systems, your upline support system, the training calls, etc. So let's go ahead and get started in some more detail as far as what the tools are, and kind of summarize the categories of tools. I like to look at it as there's a creating interest tools. So creating interest tools are in particular for people who might not know you. They're not in your warm market. So basically, they're particularly good for your cold market. And what you want to do, people are so busy in today's world, and it could be they're busy going home and wanting to watch TV for the evening, and just, so creating interest tools can be very short. Well, the idea is that they are very, very short tools that a person will spend time watching. They might be 2 or 3 or 4 minutes. And it creates interest, enough interest so that they want to watch more. And then core tools would be categorized as more the tool that tells the whole story. It tells about the products of ASEA, the company of ASEA, and the business of ASEA. And they can be personal. Tools can be personal or electronic. Personal meaning you give the presentation yourself. And the personal approach allows for the full process flow in one meeting, for example. So you could have an in-home where you invite whatever 5 or 10 people, and you can share your story. You can inform people about the product the company to business by doing a presentation or showing a presentation. And then you can do the follow-up. That's the third step of we're talking really about the A-lift process, where you make your list, you invite, then you follow up. And so all those steps can be done in a meeting when you're with the person. So that's a nice thing about personal meetings, why they can be way more effective. And personal doesn't mean just in homes. It could be one-on-ones. It could be larger meetings. So personal means you have the personal touch. Follow-up tools then are used after these first two steps typically, and they're used to answer questions. And so those are the categories. So we'll be getting into more details on these. And again, the key to successful business, not just network marketing, but lots of businesses, is to have those tools that are duplicatable. So what I'm going to do is go to the front page of A-Team Support. So first I want to go to the quick ways of introducing a SIA, because again, we're looking at tools. So the first and perhaps the primary way of introducing the SIA would be, of course, you and your story. And you might not have a story. You might be a very fit person and didn't have any specific needs. So you don't necessarily have your story, but it might be your mother who is older, or grandmother, or you have a sports story, or you have a business story. And the story doesn't have to be finished. It could be anticipation. In other words, you really see the value of a home-based business and you're working to build it. Just the excitement is your story. So let's go to look at this real quick. On A-Team Support, if I go to Resources, and I'm just holding my mouse over Resources, and the drop-down pops up, and I'm going to go to What is A-Lift here. And most people, I presume, know A-Lift. It's the morning training calls cover one of these subjects each morning, but I have a summary here that is useful for people. A, attitude. L, list. I, invite and use a tool. F is follow up and collect a decision. And T, teach your team to do the same. So let's go to invite. That's what we're talking about. I can click on this, or I could scroll. And this is actually good in general for the tools, because it's not just invite, it's invite and use a tool. So you might want to look at this when you get a chance, but and for all these subjects. But and on Wednesday, on the morning calls, typically they talk about invite. That should be the subject of the Wednesday morning charge-up call. But here's what I wanted to show you. There's things here to talk about your story and how to develop your story. So I recommend you go through these. I'm not going to tell you exactly all this stuff, but you can go through these and learn them as you have time. So it's important to learn your story. And then there are some things here, how to invite, which we're not on inviting here, we're on using tool, but the two really go hand in hand. So in particular, I wanted to show you about the 1 minute story. That is a primary tool. And when they say 1 more minute, they call it an elevator pitch. It's like if you were in an elevator just going up to the 50th floor, you have a minute with the person in the elevator, and they ask you, what do you do? The elevator pitch would be like a 1 minute summary that would be impactful to that person as far as sharing your story with a SIA. It may be that, like I said, the testimony of sorts, or just how much you like the company, whatever it is that excites you about a SIA. You want to package that. So there you go. Okay, so let's go to prospecting. You have your list. You have people you want to approach. The people that you know and you have credibility with are perhaps easier to get to listen. You can send them right to a presentation, or do a presentation with them. your cold market, you likely will need to do a short 1-minute story, etc., to get them interested first. But then once you're done, let me just show you one other thing. There is another resource, and they're called sizzle calls. So I'm going to search for sizzle. I just click the magnifying glass at the top, type in search for sizzle, and here it is. Let me click on basic activities. And this actually goes through what I was just talking about. There's a creating interest. So this is basic activities for your business, the rhythm of the business. And let me find out how you get here, but on here is the sizzle calls. These are calls you can three-way your person into, or you can use some of these short videos also. These are other creating interest tools. So how did we get here? I put in search for sizzle, but also this is basic activities for your business. Let me see where that is. It might be on the home page. So if I go back to the home page, here we go. So underneath these 1, 2, 3s, we have some 9 boxes of basic activities for people. And this is in basic activities for your business here, this box. So if I click on that, it's going to take me right to here. And I kind of go through what I'm talking about here, the creating interest tools, the core presentations. It's summarized here. But let's go right now to so we've gone through some creating interest stories, which you don't need for everybody, just the people that might need that little extra. But for many people, you can go right to the core presentation. And this is all part of the invite process. So for example, I'm not going to get into details of how to invite, but you basically send them to a core tool. And one of the core tools that we like the best and people do enjoy is AmazingMolecules.com. And there's actually Danish, German, Spanish, some Finnish languages there. This one's out of date now, so probably we don't use this one too much anymore. But Alan has kept his up to date. So let's go take a quick look at it. I have it up here. And right up front, and Alan has simplified over the past 6 months, he's simplified this website to be more straightforward. And it starts immediately right with the main presentation, which is, let's see how long it is, about, well, it's actually 22 minutes. The first half is product.
We also have a wonderful opportunity.
So the second half is business.
Consider the ASEA breakthrough when it comes to health and wellness and
And then the second half of the video is business. So you can tell them, if you just want to be learning about the product, just watch the first half. But it's nice to package this business with it because people get introduced to it. And then underneath this, so it's simple. You just say, go watch the top video on AmazingMolecules.com. Now there is option to go to AmazingMolecules.net, which is strictly product. So it only has probably a 12-minute video here. Let's take a look. Yeah, so about a 13-minute video, just product. So if you really have people that don't want to hear about business, you could send them to AmazingMolecules.net. Languages, of course, like I said here. Some languages. Okay, so that is what I would call a primary core tool for a lot of people. It's proven very effective. You can actually use these at an in-home and play the video at an in-home. So if you're not the best presenter, you can use Alan as a presenter. So before I move on, any quick questions on this so far? Is it kind of making sense?
Bob, is this all on the back office or is this on A-Team support?
A-Team support.
Okay, so that is not listed in Genie.
Well, that's the other question. See, I don't use Genie. I have it, but I haven't really used it.
Right.
So one of the sources of tools is Genie, of course. And I'm not sure if Genie has that video in there or not. But we'll talk.
Oh yeah, they do have Alan's that is in the library. I get your A-Team support, and it's been huge. I love all the things that you've got. I just didn't know if we go on A-Team to find what we're learning this morning, not on the Genie.
Well,
Back
so
office.
we basically wrote A-Team, so I'm more familiar with A-Team. So
Okay,
that's why I use this as a resource. And then people don't have to spend $19 a month. You can have your
right,
downline do it, and they don't have to,
right.
if they're not that much into the business and just want to do basic stuff. This is the resource for it.
Thank you.
So I will get into Genie a little bit too, but okay, so
It is a good tool. It is time consuming.
yeah, that's the point. So that's the whole idea. You want to get right into it without having to go to college. And that's why.
Right.
So that's why we recommend 1, 2, 3 on this front page.
Perfect. Thank
So
you.
let's see here. So that's prospecting. So along the lines of prospecting, I was going to touch on Genie too. Genie ABC is offered to people when they first start, and I think they get 6 months free to try it, or maybe it's a month free. And like Dale said,
It's 1 month free.
Yeah, it is a little bit. I mean, when Trish first tried it, she says, "I don't really want to do this because it's too much to set up and all that."
Yeah.
I think they've worked on it and made it simpler, but at the same time, you can try it and see if it's worth the money to you. And I was going to, Genie now has ability for the leaders, the upline, to put their own training into it. So I was looking at the possibility of folding all this training right into it also, but I haven't had time to do it. So that's the problem.
Yeah.
So you prospected people, you send them to Amazing Molecules, and let me just mention Genie. I'm not totally familiar with it, but it does have a library where you can get resources to send, like a video. It's Alan's video, and it'll actually tell you when they watch them and how much of the video they watched, and et cetera, et cetera. So it has really good feedback capabilities, and it has some automated reminders to remind you to do this or to do that. So I'm not going to get into it, but I'm just saying there is tools in there also. And there might be some tools that we don't really use or have. So, there's just be aware that there is a Genie. You can get to it through your back office. But I'm going to move right to follow-up tools, because once a person watches the core tool, two things happen. One is they say, I'm ready to buy, I'm ready to join, or else they say, I need more information. So let's just quickly look at the follow-up tools. And then actually that takes me off the website. So let me show you something though. Say the person says, I want to join after watching, not as a customer or an associate. Here's a follow-up tool that you need to know about and they should use, whether they're customers or they're new associates. And that would be the first step here. Start here, how to use. So let's go ahead and click on it. And why this is good is because it does two things. It tells you how to use, only 11 minutes, how to use the drink, how to use the renew, 8 minutes. So very short instruction videos. There's some documents you can download. In particular, the results tracker. You want to have a results tracker. Very important for new people, whether they're customers or associates. But then people have questions. Even after they join, they could say, what's going on? Are these things really safe? Who can use them? What about the taste? Et cetera, et cetera. A lot of these I'm going to show you, are in the frequently asked questions of your Team ASEA site or ASEA Global. But the reason these are nice is, let's look at this. What about the taste? What these are very short videos, like 3, 4, 5 minute, and they're done by, most of them are done by medical professionals. So are they safe? This is done by a veterinarian doctor, and his wife was a clinical study. She tested safety for pharmaceutical companies. She's a safety expert. So they have a very short clip on this that you can have your person watch if they're concerned about the safety, for example. And the point is that you learn about the product and also its validation, very good validation. Dr. Malmed has a short clip here on the overview of how it works, autoimmune issues, some pretty good little videos. Chemical treatments, that basically means on chemo, if a person's on chemo. And part of the reason this site is password protected is because we have made these, we've kind of cleaned them up as far as being compliant, but we don't want them out there in the general public where we'd have to get 100%, full-blown approval by ASEA and stuff. These are kind of hidden, I guess you could say. So in any case, I'm not going to get into that too much. All right, so that is step one, learning about the product, and also follow-up for your new people. Follow-up questions, answering follow-up questions for your new people. So let's go to other places where you can do follow-up. I'm going to go to, well, actually lots of other sites here for follow-up. So information for professionals, click here, and there's things that target both health professionals and athlete professionals. Again, they're tools. Some might be videos. Some might be downloads. Some might link to the ASEA resources. So I'm not going to get into each one of these, and this is part of the ongoing education. But as you have time or as you have the need, then you go and look specifically at these things. So for example, here, this might be a good primary presentation for a professional. Some of these may be primary core tools, but mostly these are follow-up tools. And just when you get a chance, go through, be familiar with them. The point being, if right away you don't need all this detail, all you need is a 1, 2, 3 for getting started. But over time, if someone asks you, so someone asks you and you don't know the question, you can go to your upline and ask them, and they can give you the answer. That's a nice thing about this business. But over time, as you learn these things, you become the upline, and I highly recommend you take notes of where you found what video, for example, so you can go directly to it much easier next time, because there's a lot of information out there. Take notes where you find them and how to get to them. And then when someone asks you that question a month or a week from now, they might ask you, what about the chlorine and the ASEA? You could say, oh, I can go right to step 1 and go to what about the taste of ASEA, or things like that. So I'm going to go to our Team ASEA site. And also I want to go to ASEA Global. So first I want to start with ASEA Global. And this is the corporate website. It's provided to everybody. It's open, free, etc. It's a very well done site, I think. And I think the main purpose for this, I wouldn't send a prospect directly to this site, because it doesn't really give a flow of, it's a lot of information, and people would get lost in it. But if people have specific questions, for example, again, if someone asks me about chlorine, I'm an engineer and I could give them a technical answer, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to be the answer. I want to use a tool that someone else could say, hey, he took me here to give this answer. I could do that. I can duplicate that. So here it is. So you can go to products, but the point is you have to be familiar with the tool before you can use it. So here we go to products. Product frequently asked questions is a key thing to know about under products. And so, for example, if they ask me about chlorine, under frequently asked questions, I just go right here and say no chlorine's added. It says patented process goes through this. Basically it says it's safe. If I go to, sorry to jump around, but your Team ASEA website is another follow-up source. course, the main purpose of this is for people to join and buy. But if I go to products and go to Renew 28, I mean ASEA, it's a little more complicated to get to, and I have to go to ASEA and click on the drop down and go to frequently asked questions. And it's harder to navigate, but down here somewhere is chlorine. What I did is I did a search in my browser for chlorine up here. I just hit Control F, or you can go to Edit, Find, and it brings up a little search within your browser, and you can search for any word on a page. Just a little tip. So I searched for chlorine. So I kind of like this answer for chlorine better. And yeah, so frequently asked questions. You want to know about those. I'm going to go back to ASEA Global. Some people might ask how the molecules are absorbed, and this is a really good one I like. It goes right in through the water absorption channels in the soft tissues of the mouth and stomach. Yeah, lots of good ones. The point is you have to look at these and kind of read them. And salt, people ask about salt. We also have a salt answer under step 1. So you have to be aware of these in order to use them. And this is not something that you do right away. It's over time. It's the continuing education. So frequently asked questions. Another good thing on ASEA Global, the corporate website, is if you click on science, just right on science, not down on one of these. And people are interested in the technical aspects. I send them here. You know, they can read through things as they wish, but at the very bottom of this page are all the science downloads, the research. So if people ask about the research, I send them right here to these downloads. And they can click on this and it gets the, there's the gene study. It gives the PDF download for these different things. So there we go.
Again, Bob, this is on ASEAglobal.com.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So ASEAglobal.com is the corporate website. And they may, I'm not sure what kind of follow-up tools they have in Genie. They might have some. And the other website is your Team ASEA website, in particular the frequently asked questions. Okay, so we've gone our 30 minutes. Let me just look at what else we got here. And then we can do more questions. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much what I wanted to show. The concept is that this can be overwhelming. There's a ton of information. So that's, again, why we start with the simple 1, 2, 3 for getting started. And 3 is what we're talking about here, ongoing education. So it's, you know, it can, I'm still learning stuff after years. You always pick up tricks of the trade. So that all said, thanks all for attending. If you're ready to go off and enjoy your weekend. Otherwise, if you do have some questions, feel free to ask.